Hello, ladies, and welcome back to Chengi's World. Oh my goodness, I am Chengi, and you, baby girl, are my world. Yes, you are. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Thank you for those of you who are coming here for the first time. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. You'll know the deal. Okie dokie. And join me because today is Story Time Saturday. Hello. Or we'll call it Saturday Story Time. I haven't decided. But the reason I'm doing this video is because so many of you on my Instagram have been commenting, on my Facebook, have asked me to do a story time and tell you a little bit more about myself. And to be honest, at first I was like, I think I talk about myself a lot, really. What do you guys want to know? So I thought that what I would do, because I'm very sort of private. I've seen some bloggers are like, ask me any question and answer. I'm like, I don't know if I'll answer that. But I might put up something in my stories, maybe asking you guys to send me questions if there's anything specific that you want to know about me. I don't think I'm very interesting, to be honest. I think I'm quite, I don't know. I'm not, when you are just not thinking that I'm that exciting. So I'm just going to break it down, and for the next couple of Saturdays, we'll get to know me and I'll give you stories. And you'll get to know me better, maybe my backdrop, why I think the way that I do, why I'm even here. I guess we all need to know who the people who are talking to us and give us advice are, and who are you and why should I listen to you? So when we are vague about who someone is, then I guess it's a bit kind of like, I really want to get to know you though. So we're going to start with stuff that's really kind of basic, and then we'll move on to a bit more interesting stuff. Maybe I'll tell you about my little dating life, maybe I'll tell you my little events. Oh my goodness, maybe we'll do that. Maybe in later videos, I will probably pull out 5 of the many guys I've dated and maybe tell you a little bit about them. Okay, that might be fun. And maybe the lessons I've learned by dating those particular guys. Who knows? Let's have a bit of girly time. I have been, as you know, sort of struggling with my throat. So I've got myself some lemon and honey, my lovely cup. And this was a gift from... I think it was a Christmas gift. The thingies you do at the office, mystery gift thingy-majig 1 year when I was a teacher. So I'll tell you about that as we go along. I'll decide sort of as we go along, and maybe if you guys give me feedback, then I'll sort of know where to take it. Whether you want to know about my career, about me, my family, my sisters, whatever. Okay. Just leave a comment and let me know what you really want to know. But this was definitely a cup that I received. I love it. It's like a teacup, but it's like a mug as well, which is really cool. And it's got that Christmassy thing. So when I want to kind of, I don't fancy sort of a mug, but I want a teacup, I sort of go for this one. And it sort of reminds me of the people that I used to work with. So I've got some lemon and honey in there. So forgive me if I have to stop and cough or whatever. But why don't you go grab yourself a hot drink if that's your thing, or some water, some snacks. I'm not going to make this longer than 15 minutes if I can help it. But, why not? Chill out. Do your thing, So a little bit about me. Let's start with basics. So I was born in Zimbabwe. That is in Africa. I know most people know that, but just in case of somebody that doesn't. And it's Southern Africa. And no, we don't speak African. I've heard that quite a lot. I beg your pardon. I've heard that quite a lot. No, there's no such thing. And even in Zimbabwe as a country, and all the hemispheres of Africa have a specific culture about them. So we're not all the same because we belong to the same continent. We fundamentally are, but we differ in culture, persona. Southern Africans, especially Zimbabweans, are very gentle, semi-passive ladies, gentlemen, really of the southern hemisphere. We're very non-confrontational. But anyway, very, very educated. Education is something that we hold in very, 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 very high esteem. And when I'm talking about education, I'm not talking about education in general. I'm talking about academics, right? So we really value academics. We really make sure that, you know, our children learn, study, go to good schools. It was a priority for our parents and a priority for the culture, really. And I'll tell you my story with academics too. I never quite fit into any box. And I guess why I sound the way I do and am the way that I am. And I know there'll be some Zimbabweans watching, and hopefully they'll get to understand me better. Okay. Because I think sometimes it's like who she thinks she is. But not anymore. Not that I've got older. When I was younger, I used to really feel like I didn't belong. I always felt like I didn't belong there because I spoke a certain way, I dressed a certain way, I was a certain way, and it just always felt like I was a stranger in my own home, in my own country. But we'll talk about that maybe as we go along. But yes, I was born in Zimbabwe. My mom and dad, one is my dad's name is Elisha, and my mom is Ellen. My dad passed away around this time of year in March, so I should know how many years it is, but I think I mentally block it off. But I would probably say 5 years ago. And maybe we'll talk about that in a later video. Yeah, I was born to those two beautiful people. I have 6 other siblings. I've got 1 brother and 5 sisters, so there's 7 of us. And it was lovely growing up in a home full of kids. I was born in a town called Rusape. It's and in Makoni, you know, so it's like a district in Rusape. And Rusape is quite a well-known city, but it's not by any means the capital. And I loved it. I have such fond memories of it, even though I left when I was really kind of 4, too young to almost have a memory. But I have memories of rockeries and beauty, and the house we lived in. I have this perfect picture of it because I had the most beautiful birthday party that my parents threw for me when I was a little girl, and I wore a little yellow dress. I just have these really clear memories. And I had a dog called Tiger. Yes, Africans name their animals using other animal names. A friend of mine put that on her Instagram, and I laughed my head off. She's like, Zimbabweans, why do we call our dogs Tiger, you know, or whatever? But it's such a, one of the things you'll find about Zimbabwean names is they're the weirdest, like, really, for real, you know. Maybe not just Zimbabwe, maybe just Africans. It's so funny. But yeah, some of the names are Dodge, right? So anyway, my dog was called Tiger because it was quite stripy, so I can get why my parents. And Tiger apparently used to look after me, which is really odd because I literally grew up with a phobia of dogs, but apparently I was really very close to Tiger. And if anyone came anywhere near me, my mom would leave me out in the garden to play, apparently, without watching me, and Tiger would literally follow me anywhere. And if anyone came near me, like, he would like kill them. So I had like a dog as a babysitter. So yeah, my family loved dogs. I grew up around dogs, 1, 2, or 3 dogs, but I was always very scared. I wouldn't go anywhere near them. But yes, family of animal lovers. My one brother survived all of us, bless him. He was always so funny, but I used to just think the world of him, you know, because I was like, I'm number 6 of the 7. I used to just think, oh my God, my brother is like the most handsome man in the whole world. He's just so tough, so cool. And he was, he did karate. So he was like, you know, really good. He broke all the trees in the house. But when I got to about 4 or 5, my family moved to Harare, which is the capital city. And we lived in Greendale. Which won't mean anything to those of you around the world, but it will mean something to Zimbabweans if they're watching. And it was a nice neighborhood, suburban life, a nice 2-story house, loads and loads of land around, beautifully kept gardens, really just a beautiful life with a fish pond. Oh, just picturesque, an orchard in the back. My mom was very much into growing her own food, so tomatoes, potatoes, all vegetables were grown in our back garden, whatever season. My mom was very much she's a farmer. She was brought up, her dad was a farmer. She was brought up on a farm, so she understands farming. She loves it. So we never really had to go and buy vegetables. My mom was a businesswoman, so she had a butchery. So again, we never had to worry about things like meat. And I am very much the butcher's daughter. I'm so sorry to all the vegans. I have tried to go vegan, or even vegetarian doesn't work for me. I really have tried, but maybe one day. But yeah, there was always meat. Like, we would snack on steaks, and anyone who's ever tasted Zimbabwean beef or meat, you will never go back. Like, you will know the difference, because everything is organic and everything is natural, so it's tender, it's beautiful. But yeah, I grew up a very simple life, and it's so funny how I hated the idea of having to have our own, eating from our back garden, because I didn't understand how beautiful and how wonderful it was, because my skin was flawless. I remember somebody looking at my skin and saying, my gosh, your skin is perfect. It was flawless. Beg your pardon? Yeah, so basically, what happened was that, I would, Mom, why can't we go and buy some fruit from the shops? And why can't we, be like other children? Why do I have to have fruit from the garden? But we had a huge avocado tree, huge mulberry tree. And I remember living on top of those trees, which leads me to the thing about my personality is, I didn't grow up with loads of toys. My dad and my mom and my dad, they didn't really have, I don't know if they were poor or they just didn't see it as a priority. But toys were just not something that I had growing up. We had sunshine and we had trees and we had a community. So as a child, you'd wake up in the morning when you're not going to school, not bath, not brush your teeth, just head out, in your pajamas or whatever. You might have breakfast if you wake up at the right time, and you just go and play with your friends on the streets. You knock on your neighbor's door, I've come to play, you eat there. Zimbabwe was such a place of community. If I knocked on my friend's door and they were having breakfast, then get a plate for Chengi, and vice versa. And we could play in her room. I did notice that my friends had rooms and dolls, but I think my mom and dad had 7 kids, and our house was, I think, 4 bedrooms. My mom and dad had the upstairs room. Then they converted the one underneath, so that some of us girls had to share, and my brother had his own room. And then eventually they built him a cabin in the garden near the house, so he could have his own personal space. And then I got his room. So it was they had to house a lot of us and feed a lot of us. So I don't think toys had much to do with anything, but it was good because we had each other. I was never the child who needed friends, because I lived with 6 friends. We would talk forever. My sisters were like my girlfriends. They would teach me how to dress, how to look good, about men, boys. A lot of what I share with you guys comes from my sisters. In passing, stuff they would tell me, talk about, stuff that I'd eavesdrop on and observe. My family, my sisters are very wise. If you kind of think it's just me, it's not. My sisters are very wise. When we sit around together and we talk, I can sit with my sisters and they will just feed me. They're so wise. It's like a gift, I guess, that God gave to our family, to just be so insightful. Even my younger sister, sometimes she's like my Chengi sometimes. Chiedza is her name. She's my beautiful angel. And, she's so insightful, so clever. So all of my sisters are very much like that. Spend some time around my sisters and you will get smart. But yeah, they were my friends. I really didn't need friends. I wasn't, like my son, he loves to, he's so needy, his friends are everything. But I never needed friends. I never had, and I think what that did, it made me a leader, because I didn't present as anyone who needed anyone. So, and I feel that energy makes people want to be with you. And I believe that was true for all of my sisters. We were all school prefects, head girls, we were tennis captains, we were always the leaders in our school. All of us were leaders. You know, we were all kind of somebody at school, somebody to be respected and somebody that the teachers loved. We were go-getters. We had that energy about us because we didn't need friends. We didn't need to be popular. You know, we had each other for comfort, and, you know, would go to the same schools anyway. My sisters went to the same school, so they'd hang out together. So we never needed people, and that, I think that made us this enigmatic family or women, and you carry that through life. You know, I'm quite happy to show up to a place on my own. I don't ever need to have people around me. I appreciate and love people, but I don't ever need to have people, if that makes sense. And I think that makes you a strong person. So that was nice growing up in a big family. And I always thought I would have a big family because I wanted to provide for my children what my parents had provided for me. We never really got new clothes all the time, certainly not me, because my sisters, it was a hand-me-down culture, so I had so many clothes. You know, my sisters would be like, oh, Chenka, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? So I'm one of those people who's quite happy to go to a charity shop, or I'm quite happy for a friend to be like, Chenka, I don't feel any kind of way. Like, some people feel some kind of way if somebody says, do you want this, if they've worn it or whatever. For me, I'm kind of good. Like, I'm quite happy. My friends know that. They're like, go give it to Chenki. I'll be like, yeah, that's nice. Thanks, I'll have it. You know, because I grew up in a family where my parents, you know, didn't buy clothes all the time. You know, my sisters and I, we knew how to look after what we had. So even though it was a hand-me-down, it would be well taken care of. And even now as a grown-up, you know, people think I've got loads and loads and loads and loads of clothes, but I don't. Some of my clothes I've had for years and years because I just look after them and take care of them, and I choose classic pieces and things that I know what's sort of timeless, but I don't have a huge wardrobe at all. But yeah, you know, my sisters would hand me down clothes. I never felt poor or put a stigma to it. But every Christmas I got a brand new dress. And I look forward to Christmas because I'd always get the prettiest dress. And all my sisters, my parents would take us all shopping and would get something really pretty for all of us, which is quite nice. And, you know, it was a case as well of if one of us really needed something, mum and dad would buy it, you know. But we never felt this need for things. But I do remember feeling like we were poor. I don't know where that came from, because looking back, we were not by any stretch of the imagination poor. But I think it's because when I'd go to my friends' houses, they would have things that I didn't have, space that I wouldn't have, because, you know, there would be maybe 2 kids in a household living in suburbia with big rooms and big houses, and there'd be like 2 kids, so they could afford to have their own room. And so I always felt poor because I guess everything was shared, and, you know, looking back, we were not poor at all, more middle class, I would say. But yeah, that was pretty much the landscape of my childhood. My favorite thing to do was to go play out on the streets, but my really, really favorite thing to do was to climb trees. Yeah. Yeah. I was really genuinely a little monkey. I was, and I mean that in no kind of way, because I love monkeys. And we used to have monkeys coming into our back door because our house and our garden backed up against the national park where like animals were kept, like a mini safari, if you like. And the monkeys would come into our garden. There were always monkeys in our garden. My mom couldn't stand them because they'd eat her vegetables and all manner of things. But I used to just love chasing them and playing with them. But yeah, I used to love climbing trees. That was my pastime. The higher I could go. And then I would climb the highest tree that I could probably find. I was really skinny and scrawny. And I would climb to the very top and I'd sit there all day and watch the world go by and dream. Yeah, I was always dreaming. But one thing I definitely felt as a child, which is really odd when you look back, I used to feel very much like I'm not gonna live here. I'm not gonna live in Zimbabwe. I'm made for another country. And it was so funny that I felt that way even so young. And I don't know how that got into my head. Maybe it was my aunts who were always coming back from England. Maybe that was implanted in my head that, you know, that was the ambition. I don't know. But I always waited for the day that I would grow up and live abroad. And that was pretty much my sort of psyche. So I think we've got to 20 minutes. I don't want to stretch it any further. But if you guys enjoy this, I can tell you more about, we can take it further. I've got loads to share with you. So if you want to know more about me, my background, that kind of stuff. And if there's anything in particular you want to know, then it'd be so much easier because I can just answer the question if I can do that. Thank you so much for watching and bearing with me while I have my lemon and honey. Oh, I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. Going back in memory lane. Okie dokie. So, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you soon on my channel. I'll see you on Monday. Yeah, we'll see you on Monday with some really cool videos. Take care of you. Love you lots. And make sure you subscribe, like, comment. See you on Instagram and Facebook. Mwah.